12 o'clock, we got probably the most interesting of the early window games. Number 6, Oklahoma, which started out season 2-0. Traveling to Nebraska, which joined the elite club. Everyone give a round of applause to Nebraska. They've joined the elite club of teams eliminated from playoff contention in week 2. An elite club that actually includes Notre Dame, Boston College, and Colorado, and West Virginia. So I hope you enjoy joining those elite ranks, Nebraska. You are one of the few teams that have been eliminated from playoff contention at the Power 5 school, but I'm still you're doing your game because you are playing a team that has not been eliminated from playoff contention in Oklahoma. Oklahoma favored by 11.5 points on Fox. And this is Oklahoma. Don't let them fool you. They have not looked great to start the year. They're ranked number 6, and they're probably the second most overrated team in the country. Remember, they led Kent State 7-3 at halftime. That very well could have been 6-0 if Kent State doesn't miss that field goal. It is absolutely wild that Oklahoma is the 6th best team in the country. They're not the 6th best team in the country. And I think they proved that against Nebraska today. But let's go over the stats. Dylan Gabriel went 36 of 51 through his first 2 weeks. Threw for 529 yards, 5 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. And had a 70.6% completion percentage. Eric Gray on the ground has had 26 carries for 173 yards. And Marvin Mims has had 10 catches for 244 yards and 2 touchdowns. Casey Thompson, through the air, has gone 62 and 97 through his first 3 games. Throws for 866 yards. That is an insane amount of yards to put up in 3 games and lose 2 of them. He's thrown 4 touchdowns to 3 interceptions and had a 63.9% completion percentage. And that's why I actually think Nebraska has a chance against Oklahoma today, is because Casey Thompson is such a good QB. Anthony Grant on the ground has had 69 carries for 428 yards and 5 touchdowns. And Trey Palmer had 18 catches for 231 yards. Oklahoma leads the series all time, 46-38. Last 2 games have gone Oklahoma's way. Last year was an obvious barn burner. Everyone kind of wrote Nebraska to lose that game easily, and they kept that game very close till the very end. Obviously, ended up being one of its many one-possession losses this year. And I feel like I'd be remiss not to touch on the fact that Nebraska fired Scott Frost. Because he was the first head coach fired, and he was only fired week 2. That's a rough one if you're Scott Frost, but I think it might be a benefit to Nebraska. I understand they're going to have to pay a lot of money, and it's honestly not the greatest plan in the world, considering that they were going to lose a lot of games. Anyways, even with Scott Frost on that football team, you have to pay a massive buyout to get him off that football team. It was a weird financial decision, but it's the University of Nebraska. They'll be fine. They have plenty of money. But it really was a weird financial decision to fire Scott Frost there. Give him a lot of money. Nebraska, they have a lot of talent on that football team. Because, for God's sakes, those 3 players that I listed, Casey Thompson, dang near beat Oklahoma last year as a Texas Longhorn. And if it wasn't for his defense, he would have. And I understand that Nebraska's defense is also very bad this year. Oh, it's dreadful to watch. But Nebraska offense is fun to watch. It's electric. It has a lot of deep play ability, and I understand they've made a couple mistakes. Obviously, the game against Northwestern was bad. The mistake, him throwing an interception, was a bad decision on Casey Thompson's part. But he's thrown only 1 interception since that football game. In his last 2 games. Casey Thompson's a good QB, guys. He's really good. And honestly, this is my upset of the day. I think Nebraska wins at home against number 6 Oklahoma. Give me the upset with the Cornhuskers. Win their first game without Scott Frost.